That is amazing. Far out. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you come into the fortress. Nicole Kidman. Oh, God. Yeah, it's a bit sore there. Sorry. Yeah, Nicole Kidman, she put me onto this. It's the 6-handed massage. So let me introduce you. That's Suki.
Wow.
Yeah, Sven.
Hello?
Just hold off on a second, guys. That's Suki, that's Sven, and that's Sharon.
How you going?
3 highly trained therapists going hammer and tong on my knots and my twisted bits. Yeah, so you probably read, like I did, that apparently every time Nicole lands in Sydney, Nicole has this happen to her. This thing that's happening to me right now. And I think, well, for me at least, it finally makes a lot of sense why her legs are so bloody long. Ooh. Suki, Sven, Sharon, stand down. Thank you. It was very nice. All right. While I robe up, have a quick listen to this.
On the grass and such, hit the little girls from the pat of my nose. Then came in 3 hating assholes. They don't know the meaning of water nor soap. I don't have time for the rigmarole. Taking off my coat, clearing my throat. Certified diamonds like the songs I wrote. Look at my wrist, check out the light show. Can you handle this? I don't know. You can meet me up at the pen. Knock 'em out the box with a chocolate kid.
Rigmarole, 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 rigmarole. Yeah, talk about forcing a word into the song. I like it. It's a great track, actually. It's a track that could be straight from the previous album, which I think was called Caution, wasn't it? Caution? Yeah, it's a little slice of inauthentic gangster, which was, like I say, just like the Caution album, which was fun. It was a fun album. Completely devoid, this track, of soaring notes, very deliberately so. And that makes sense. A lot of people are very cruel to Mariah. They say, well, her voice changed. She can't hit those high notes like she used to. Well, of course she bloody can't. Can you run like a gazelle and leap like a gazelle like you did 30 years ago? No, you can't. So Mariah's doing what we all do. She's adapting like an iguana. Sabrina Carpenter has released the imagery, the front album imagery for her upcoming release. And the mainstream media has proven once again why we don't trust them at all. Have you seen the headlines? Sabrina fans demand she change the photo. Fans turn against Sabrina. Utter bullshit. I mean, you might always get one fan in amongst a fan community who says something. That does not mean that the fan community feels the same. If you haven't seen it, the front cover of her new album, she's on all fours. She's posed like a dog. There's a man clutching her hair, sort of really yanking it very aggressively, as if it were a dog lead. And for those oldies listening, this is nothing new, is it? Like, ooh, the young people are like, oh my God, it's so sensational. What's she doing? She's really pushing the envelope, isn't she? That's how young people talk, by the way, in my world. But this is nothing new. A female celebrity seizing control of misogyny by cleverly reframing it so that when we actually look closely at the image, which looks like Sabrina's been abused by the evil patriarchy, well, actually, no, it's the female character who's in total control. This is a good album cover. It really is. It's like, bring back the biff, I say. Here it is, finally. A bit more provocateur. It's not safe. It's not sweet. So stand by, folks. There's an album called Man's Best Friend on its way. It's a 12-track album. Very hot on the heels, I have to say, of her short and sweet work, which was a mega beast in the world of pop culture. My God, it's still at the top of the charts, isn't it? Around the world, certainly in Australia, it is. So pretty cool that she's releasing another album already. We already have the lead single, Man Child, which unfortunately smacks of one of my least favourite instruments, the fiddle. Now, for those of you who like hearing me beaten up, you're in for a treat, and I know there's a lot of you. Later, you'll hear from listener Nicholas, who took me to task over a number of issues. Now, I have not listened back to it, and I, hand on heart, Can't even really remember what we spoke about. So I'm looking forward to hearing it again as well. I don't usually listen back to the show. I really enjoy talking to people in the moment, but I won't usually listen back. But in this case, I'm really looking forward to it. I was truly half asleep. I don't think I was very well. I think that's the main thing. I'm often up early and half asleep, but I can still stay a little bit sane. But this one I don't remember. I have a feeling he was having a go at me about Madonna, was Nicholas. I felt a bit taken by stealth, so stay tuned for that. I'll be listening alongside you. And thank you for writing to me about the last episode. I love it when you guys do that. You can find me at Tim Power on Facebook or timetotalk.show on Instagram. I'm also on the other things, Threads, X. X I can always remember because I think it might be Tim Power 666, which I did not choose. So you really enjoyed the last show, hearing from the Kylie Breakfast Club. Lots of you writing to me saying how on earth do they afford it. These are 3 wonderful fans we spoke to in the last episode who are basically following the Tension Tour, dipping in, dipping out at different times, but following it around the world. And you also loved listening to Faye Louise, who told us what it was like being brought onto the stage to meet Kylie herself. And talking of the Tension Tour, yes, I am very aware. I woke up this morning and there was dings all over my phone. Thank you for letting me know and bringing to my attention that Kylie has rescheduled, that's the key word here, rescheduled, a number of European dates due to ill health. And it's interesting because a few of you have said she doesn't usually do this. Well, probably, over the course of however many years she's been touring, you're probably right. But there are some notable ones, of course. Shows that have been postponed due to poor health. The most famous, of course, being the Showgirl tour. But she did cancel a few homecoming shows as well. She famously brought one to a close midway through. I believe that's the only time she's ever done that. Had to walk off the stage. She cancelled some Dublin shows on the Golden Tour as well. Maybe one. No, I think it was 2 Dublin shows or in Ireland, and Beyond Ill Health, which has seen 4 shows in Europe postponed. There's also some confusion, or was some confusion at least. No, there's still some confusion, let's call it that, about the show in Uruguay. It was to be held on August 9 at the Antel Arena. It is officially cancelled, absolutely, not postponed, cancelled. And the statement is, it's a little bit amusing to me, logistics. What the devil does that mean? Like, is the airport closed? Logistics. So that's what they're telling us officially. But there was plenty of buzz before the cancellation that the ticket sales were terrible, apparently. I don't understand. What do you think? Should they just come out and say, we didn't sell enough tickets here, so we're not going to go ahead with the show? I know if you're in the PR world, that's not a lie. So it's very clever. Yes, pat on the head, very clever. Logistics. Because logistics could mean, well, logistically we couldn't bring it there because we didn't sell enough tickets. Absolutely, you're right. So I'm not criticising the clever spin that's been put on it. But really, it's 2025. We see through spin. It causes more problems, I would have thought. Logistics just got the fan community thinking, well, ticket sales, or was there some problem with the venue, something with the B stage? I don't know. Just come out and say, Tension's been remarkably successful. We would have criticised Uruguay. We wouldn't have criticised you, Kylie. It would have been Uruguay's fault. It's them, not you, okay? The show in Brazil too is under scrutiny, I believe. I don't have the detail of where in Brazil. I should, to my shame. But the question is, will there be a B stage? That's the rumour, that there won't be a B stage in Brazil. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what will happen. And on a positive note, there has been a second show added in Chile. So it's all fun and games, right? The Tension Tour. And she's going to places that she doesn't normally go, and that's fantastic. And with that comes some risk, some gamble. And that's a great thing. But there's no denying, if any of you are wondering, I'm sure none of you are, but there's no denying this has been a huge success. Primarily on a reputational scale. Like, she's just like glowing reviews everywhere, applauded for her bravery, of the simplicity of the show in some way, sort of stripping back all the bells and whistles. For some critics, that means, well, she's a real artist kind of thing. She's not hidden behind spectacle. We all know it's a fantastic tour. But money-wise, it's also been a huge success. Huge. The figures apparently aren't in yet for Europe, but from Madison Square Garden, she made quite a small fortune. In Australia, she made close to 20 million, I think it was, and that's after all the expenditure, so that's net. When you think about all the other artists that are in reputational strife at the moment, yes, there's a big question mark about Katy Perry, Beyonce. Is it really a failure, their tours? Is it really as bad as what the media make out? Who knows? But certainly reputationally, it's out there. People are thinking Katy Perry and Beyonce, they can't sell a show anymore. That's what people say. I'm not saying it's correct. And on that note, we're about to talk to the very, very lovely beehiver, Jordan. G'day, Jordan, if you're listening. Well, you will be listening, hopefully, I hope, since you spoke to me. It's your episode, my friend. Jordan, just a lovely person. You're going to get to hear from him soon. He went to Beyonce's 2 London shows. Were there empty seats in those arenas? Well, he was there. So don't read the headlines. Let's talk to Jordan and see what he has to say. Now, we're about to talk to little Leo, who was serenaded by our Kylie. You would have seen it. I dressed as Jason especially for you, and then she brought him up on stage. It was such a special moment, beautiful moment. She's also serenaded a 3-year-old, I noticed, very recently. But before we speak to Leo and his mum, did you know that you can send me a voice memo or an email, but voice memos are preferable, timetotalkaustralia@outlook.com. And Matthew did exactly that. G'day, Matthew.
Hi Tim, I was just listening to your latest episode. There was a guy in there talking about Kylie Minogue's birthday at the Tension Tour, and it had me thinking about a time that I was at Kylie Minogue for her birthday. Well, it was meant to be her birthday. This was during the Showgirl era. I'd bought tickets to all of the Showgirl concerts in Melbourne, and one of them was meant to be her birthday, and obviously that didn't happen. And a year and a half later, we were there, and then me and my friends started singing happy birthday to her, and then the whole crowd joined in, and she was looking around thinking, why is everyone singing happy birthday? And she's just looking around, just bewildered, and then she's like, oh, that's right, it was meant to be my birthday. And then she's like, oh, thank you. And then then she started crying, and then it was such a beautiful, emotional moment. We're there, she's made it, and she's back on stage where she belongs. And it was such a beautiful moment. But then it turned out to be her Nana's birthday, and then she just asked us, can we all sing happy birthday to her Nana? And we're like, absolutely. So we sang happy birthday to her Nana, and then she's like, don't think you're getting that every year, Nana. So, yeah, I thought I would share that with you, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. I've got a lifetime of Kylie Minogue memories to share. All right, thanks.
Listen, you've been a Kylie fan for a very long time, haven't you, Claire?
I have. A long, long time, since the beginning.
Since the beginning. I heard it. Someone said since you were 4 years old. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, since I was 4.
Incredible. Well, you've watched a spectacular career, haven't you? And you were at one of her shows in the UK recently, and it was a pretty special moment for you and your family, I understand.
It was just we'd never dreamt, that it would be what it turned out to be. But I think as I started to watch the tour, particularly in Australia and then over in America and stuff, you could see. All I watched was the B-stage moments. I didn't watch any of the rest of the tour because I didn't want to ruin it. But I was just watching bits of the B-stage thinking, wow, this is really special.
So what I noticed, and tell me if I'm wrong, on your son Leo, who's 9 years old, you've dressed him up as Jason Donovan. Sorry, I'm laughing because I haven't said it out loud before. It's very cool. But not only did you dress him up like Jason Donovan, but it's the back cover of the Especially for You, I think. Am I wrong or am I right?
Yeah, correct. So we'd spoken quite a bit. Leo's a big fan, by the way. He's not I mean, he is a fan because I am, if you get what I mean.
Of
but
course.
He's very much involved with all the songs. He knows all the songs. He would give a true fan a run for their money in a contest of, naming the songs and stuff. And he's watched some of the tours with me and stuff on DVD and things. But we were just sat having dinner one day, and then we were talking about what he was potentially going to wear, and I was like, you need a t-shirt, Leo, because we're all going to probably wear like tour t-shirts and stuff like that. And then he said, just one day at dinner, I think I'll dress as Jason Donovan.
Oh.
And we were like, oh, okay. And we sort of laughed about it first, and then after a while we thought, actually, this might be a really good idea. So we actually looked at some old photos. I've still got my old Too Many Broken Hearts vinyl, so we pulled that out and had a look at the picture, and then did a bit of digging on Google, and then had a look at some of the old pictures of him and Kylie together. And yeah, I said the hat, it's got to be the hat, because the hat's sort of like iconic, isn't it, really, from that era. So
Yeah.
we ordered a few bits and pieces. Leather jacket, he was excited about the leather jacket. And then when it arrived and he put it on, I was like, this is great. Do you know what I mean? Like, he looked really good in it.
Yeah.
And so I knew we'd made the right decision. And then it was my husband who actually said, oh, you need a banner. Perhaps it should say something like, I dressed as Jason especially for you. And we loved that. I wrote that straight down. And obviously, I think at one point we were thinking about whether we should do a song request, like whether we should ask for a different song. So that was before all the Jason stuff happened, but it kind of just spiraled from there, really.
Fantastic idea, though. And I could tell that I saw the footage of Leo before I knew about you, for example, being a fan yourself. But as soon as I saw little Leo's outfit, I thought, yeah, he's got a family member who really remembers what 1989 was like. Because
100%. I mean, like, it wasn't... I didn't do it because of getting her attention as such. I did it for nostalgia because I had Kylie and Jason stuff. I had all of it. Posters, I had a jigsaw, I had all the annuals and stuff, like the old 80s stuff. I had a jumper that had Kylie on it. I've still got the picture, I think. So, as I said, he'd got his outfit sorted. I'd kind of thought that I would like wear an outfit as well, so I went for the time bomb outfit and got all the bits.
You didn't?
For that, the leather jacket and
that part.
Yeah,
sorry,
I did.
I thought you meant the other costume from the video.
No. That would have been a bit strange.
Yes.
Leo's laughing next to me about that. So no, I went for time bomb in the end for mine, but I think one of the things that when we kind of got into the arena, they kind of liked the fact that we'd made an effort, I think.
Yeah. Do
you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that turn up in outfits, and it's so lovely to see. And we'd noticed actually when she came over to the UK that she was getting children up on the stage actually, and Leo was saying, I might have a chance. Maybe she'll get me up. Maybe she'll give me a hug. But we just never thought it would be to the extent that it has been. I think looking at some of the B stage clips, I think he's been on the stage probably the longest out of anyone. I don't know. There's probably stats on it somewhere, but I think watching it, I was like, gosh, he was up for a long time.
Yeah, well, not everyone who gets chosen gets put on the stage. I was actually just talking about that on the show last week, saying some of the Wild Roses just get serenaded staying there in the crowd. Some get brought up. So it was a pretty amazing moment, wasn't it, really? And can I ask, what was it?
It really was, yeah.
I know you're going to let me have a quick chat with Leo in a second, but as his mum and as a super Kylie fan yourself, what was it like watching him get plucked out of the audience like that? I mean, what was going through your mind and your heart?
It was just crazy. I mean, we kind of hoped for the Wild Rose, if I'm honest. Like, I think that was what we were hoping to get him towards the front. And I think, as I said, because we'd watched sort of London and Manchester and Sheffield and stuff, and different children were being selected, so to speak, I think that's what we were hoping for. And that's why a few days before we went to a little craft shop and we bought this little crochet rose. And Leo said, well, maybe I could give her a wild rose, like in return, if I get the wild rose
he's
from
got
her.
good
I could give her
ideas,
one
this
back.
lad, doesn't he?
He has got good ideas, yeah. And then he made a little tag and stuff for her, and we sat at the dinner table and did this little tag, and he wrote it all out and made it himself. So, but we didn't think, obviously, he'd be going up on the stage to give it her. We thought it would just be passed over. But yeah, as soon as she came over and spoke to him, it was just amazing. And then obviously she was like, I want to see the full outfit. And we were just all shocked, I think. We were like, oh my goodness. And then, the security people let him out and up onto the stage. And I mean, I saw all of it from the back, and it's been amazing for me to see all the videos and photos from the front. And all of the kind of like fans have been amazing as well, like sending me all of that. We have such a lovely Kylie community of fans. And I've been speaking to fans online for quite a while, some that I met at the concert, like Efrat, for example, Jeff from Denver, he's amazing. And they were all just so lovely about it, like all rooting for Leo as well. And I think having all of those videos and photos meant I was able to enjoy the moment. I didn't record it myself. I just stood and enjoyed it.
Certainly didn't need to, did you? There was 15,000 other people doing it for you. And I'm so glad you point out the Kylie community has always been strong, but I think as we're getting older too and are so proud of Kylie, it's becoming more and more loving by the year. It really is. And the Tension Tour is a pinnacle for the fan community I'm talking about. Like we've really come together. So it's absolutely amazing. Look, if it's okay, I know it sounds like little Leo might be listening. Am I able to have a quick chat with
He
Leo?
is listening, yeah. Of course, yeah. Let me pass him on.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Hey, Time to Talk family. This is Tim Power, host of the podcast where amateurs talk about icons. To keep our show commercial free, we rely on your support. Many of you have chucked in just a couple of bucks, or sometimes more, which lets Time to Talk Australia pay its way. There's no obligation, of course. Keep listening to us no matter what. Liking and sharing our content is also a huge help. But if you do hear something that you like and you think you can support the show by throwing in a couple of bucks, head to patreon.com/Time to Talk Australia. The link is in the description of this podcast.
Hi Tim and Time to Talk listeners, this is Danny from Melbourne, and I'd just like to say your latest podcast made me very angry.
And as always, we want your voice memos. If you've heard something that you agree with, or possibly you're outraged, and let's be fair, many of you listen simply to be outraged, then take out your phone and record a voice memo. Cap it at around the 2-minute mark, and then send it to me. I listen to all the voice memos that come through, and occasionally we include them in the show. Our email is timetotalkaustralia@outlook.com. Thanks for sharing, rating, contributing, and donating to this very little podcast from Down Under. I genuinely love our little Time to Talk family because lovers of pop are an endangered species. So why don't we go extinct together?
So that's all I have to say. Get off the airwaves, you're such an amateur.
Hello there.
Oh, g'day, Leo. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
How did it feel, Leo, when she started to look and you started to realise Kylie's looking at me? How did that make you feel?
It just really made me feel like, because it was my first concert, I was kind of like, well, I was a little bit nervous actually to the start, but then my confidence grew up. So in the end, it was really good.
And this, I've got to tell you, I was about your age when I went to my first concert, and my first concert was Kylie as well. It was called the Enjoy Yourself Tour. And I remember thinking, this is so loud. Like, I loved it, but it was so loud. So even before she came and spoke to you, what were you thinking of the show?
I mean, I did say to her, it's fantastic when she asked me that, and it was fantastic up until that point. and then it just went on absolutely beyond that point after.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, your mum was telling me it was your idea to dress like Jason Donovan. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. How did you come up with that idea? I'm thinking you must listen to a lot of Kylie and Jason.
Well, especially for you song I hadn't listened to for quite a long time, but I was thinking of the other so-called men that Kylie did songs with.
Yep.
And then I was thinking like Enrique Iglesias, Jack Severetti and everyone. And then I came up with Jason Donovan because I didn't actually think of that one for a few days. And then it came into my mind.
Well, it was a clever idea. Like you say, if you go through all the males that she's sung songs with, there's a lot to choose from, isn't there? You could have even went as Robbie Williams, but you landed on the original duet.
You saying Robbie Williams made me just think, we didn't think of that.
No, we didn't think of that.
Yeah, well, you would have had to get out leather pants, and it's probably not so good, my friend. Probably not so good. Can you tell me a bit about what did Kylie say to you when you went up on the stage? I know that I've watched it a lot of times from many different angles, but do you remember what Kylie was saying to you when you were on the stage?
Vaguely, yes. So she pulled me up and she first actually said, I take my time reading signs, which was really funny. And then she said, if we haven't got a curfew, I want to see the full outfit. So I went up on the stage and then I handed her the crocheted rose that we bought. And then she pulled me over like to the centre of the stage because we were like by the steps at that point. And then she said to me, do you want to sing especially for you? And I was like, maybe. And then she said, you don't have to sing. And I was like, okay then.
I think he was glad that he didn't have to sing the full duet, to be honest, even though he knows all the words. I think when you're put on the spot like that, it's so hard, isn't it?
It's so fun that you're both talking about that moment because, look, Leo, I'm going to be honest with you. I dream of being dragged up on the stage with Kylie, but in none of my dreams does she ask me to sing. So I remember thinking, oh my goodness, the first time I watched it, she's asking poor Leo to duet. I didn't know how you might feel about that. So it was a relief when she just did it herself, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then if you listen carefully to once after the crowd sings, you can hear my voice slightly.
Yeah.
And then she kind of just holds the mic near in front of me, and then I don't even realise. I'm just like so engrossed in the song, I just don't even realise.
Oh, so she was a little bit sneaky. She heard you singing a little bit, and she put the microphone right under your mouth. Sneaky Kylie.
I think she meant to do that in the end, maybe in case I wanted to be a backing singer.
Actually, you have a lovely voice. I did hear you, and you were right in tune. But I'll tell you what, you weren't the only one singing. The whole stadium or the whole arena was singing, weren't they?
Oh yeah, definitely. I could, when she sung her bit, she held the mic towards the crowd, and I could literally hear them all singing. She didn't ask individual people to sing, say someone was right at the back, then we wouldn't even hear. That was quite funny.
It was amazing, mate. Can I ask, might sound like a strange question, but is it very noisy when you're on the stage with all those people sort of cheering? Like, is it really noisy?
Yes, definitely, because Kylie's been doing this for God knows how many years now, and she's used to it. I am not.
That's right. That's why I was asking. I'm thinking it's all good for Kylie. She gets that everywhere she goes. When she goes down to the supermarket to get a loaf of bread, people are cheering. But Leo, you don't get cheers like that all the time. It must have been overwhelming, but you handled it like a pro.
Well, yeah, we couldn't even get out the arena without people stopping us.
Is that what happened?
At least once or twice.
So when the show finished...
So soon as...
Go ahead.
When the show finished, people came up to our seats, and then when we got out the stage part, people pulled us to aside actually once. So as soon as we actually got out the doors, we were in front of the doors, and somebody asked for a picture, and I ended up signing their banner.
They were asking for your autograph?
Well, yeah, a little bit.
That is so cool. You felt like a bit of a rock star for a little while. And what have people been saying to you since? Like, have lots of people written to you? Have people, I don't know, at school seen the footage as well?
Oh yeah, people at school have definitely seen the footage, but I haven't been written to yet.
Lots of people have written to me though, Tim.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, lots of people writing to your mum and saying congratulations, Leo, including me. I was one of those because I was so impressed by the way you handled yourself up there. Because I'd be crying like a baby if I'm going to be honest. What are people saying at school?
Oh, they're really, they're saying I'm lucky, and I am really, because she could have pulled up any person by the B stage in that arena there. But because we had a bit of a clever trick, didn't we? So he posted me and my outfit on her social media page.
Before.
Well, we did earlier in the day, didn't we?
Well, yeah.
We don't know. This is what we don't know. We don't know whether her team are looking for fans. Do you know what I mean? Like we have no idea whether it's connected or not. And
Well,
it'd be interesting to see what some of the other B stage people think.
We are asking the same question on this podcast, right from because she started the tour in Australia, and we were asking the same thing. Even if it's not from socials, although it could be, we do know that they scan the crowd with the cameras before the show starts, right? So you could be being filmed beforehand.
Oh.
So who knows? But other people are saying it's spontaneous. And to be honest with you, Leo, your idea of giving her a rose, because as we know, Kylie gives the rose, but your idea of saying, actually, I'd like to give her one, that's a beautiful idea. And you came up with that.
I ended up coming up with it, and I seem to have set the tone, haven't I?
Yeah.
Because people are now bringing, like, envelopes and, like, freshly cut roses now to shows around the B stage. So I seem to have set the tone.
You did set the tone. You've started a new trend. Before you go, Leo, you've been very generous talking to me. Thank you very much. What's your favourite Kylie album? Do you have a favourite Kylie album or song?
Yeah, I do. Fever's my favourite, I would think.
You're a man of good taste. That's really good. Is there a track on Fever that's your favourite?
Well, it has to be Can't Get You Out of My Head.
Has to be, doesn't it? Has to
All
be.
of at first, yeah. All of at first sight, I'm umming between them both because I can't really decide.
Fair enough. You know, Leo, I know you love Kylie, but I've got two kids of my own, and they've had no choice since the moment they were born. Even when I was cradling them, they were listening to Kylie songs and Kylie albums. Is it fair to say you've been listening to Kylie since you were born?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. Indoctrination. For a good cause, though. Thank you, Leo, for talking to me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I loved that hat, mate. I loved it. I loved it a lot. So, Claire, what's
Thank you.
Yeah, nice meeting you, Leo. You did a great job. Congratulations. You'll have that memory for life. And by the way, not every concert's going to be as good as that one. Just putting things into perspective
we've
for
set
you.
the bar now, haven't we? That's
Totally.
the problem.
Yeah.
Every time he goes to a concert, he'll expect to be on the stage.
Dressed as Jason, especially for you. Let's do especially for you together. Tonight, forever and always. For you. Thank you so much.
Claire, are you going to any more tension shows yourself?
So I actually went to the one on Thursday at Birmingham again, but with my husband this time. Leo was a school night for Leo, so he didn't go a second time. But the arena in Birmingham is actually 12 minutes from my house.
Oh, wow.
So it would be stupid not to go twice. But no, I'm not going to any more.
Actually, was that wasn't her final show, was it? I don't think.
I think it was last night, wasn't it? It was Glasgow.
Yes.
Last night. The final UK one, yeah. So then she's off to Europe, isn't she? I've got some friends who are going to Poland, actually. So I hope they have a good time. But yeah, I think my 2 nights was very special. And I was at the front by the stage on Thursday. So it was nice to see it from a different perspective as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, you're not going to be able to top those 2 nights you had. And I never even asked you, Claire, where does Tension Tour fit in the landscape of Kylie tours from your point of view?
So, funnily enough, Leo is younger than me seeing Kylie. I didn't actually see her until I was about 17.
Oh.
There just wasn't, I know, there wasn't an opportunity to go to a concert before then. And the first time I saw her, I actually won tickets to the Brit Awards where she did the Can't Get You Out of My Head performance.
You were there?
I know, I was there, yeah. And I'm actually in the minority, I think, because you couldn't buy tickets for it.
No.
They were only winners or people from the music industry at the Brits at that point. It's different now because anybody can go. But
I've never met anyone who was at that
time.
performance. I've never. So what was that like? Because obviously it's one of her most iconic performances. What was it like to be there? Was the vibe as strong as it comes across on the TV?
It was incredible. Yeah, it was at Earl's Court, which was a very, very small venue. And it was, like I said, just winners had tickets. And music industry people were there, and that was it. I remember the atmosphere being so good, and obviously she opened it. And then my first actual tour was Showgirl, which was in 2005.
That's a good starting point.
So,
that was spectacular.
Yeah. I mean, it's so difficult to choose after that because they're all amazing. I mean, I saw Aphrodite in Manchester, which was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed Golden, I must admit. I know some people don't think that's the best era, but I just thought it was lovely and a brilliant concert. But I don't think we can top this one.
Oh, wow. So this is straight to the top of the list, do you reckon? Yeah?
I mean, I'm kind of biased, aren't I? Because we had our moment with her. So it's difficult to top that one. But
absolutely.
I have to say Hyde Park last year was brilliant as well. So
yeah, you guys have been quite blessed over there with the different variety of shows she's done for you, right? Hyde Park, and then there was obviously Glastonbury, at some point, like over the last 5 or so years, very blessed.
Yeah, we are. We're very lucky. And I think that's one of the other things that we, as Kylie fans, like we take the bull by the horn, so to speak, because you just don't know. I mean, look at what happened with COVID. You just don't know when the last time might be. Do you know what I mean? That you're able to go and see her. So
yeah,
I think that's why everybody's been a lot more. And obviously she's spoken about it in the tour as well, hasn't she? And I have to say, Infinite Disco is the best tour I've never been to. The best, performance I've never been to. It was fantastic to watch. I thought it was an incredible piece of a performance piece.
It was so creative.
What you think, but
absolutely no, so creative. It was part music video. I mean, we were all locked away, and it was so special. And plus, disco. What an album, right? Like for me, I was so giddy with excitement at having that album. So yeah, it was a really interesting thing to do. No other artist, as far as I know, did something similar during that period. So good on her and good on the team. A lot of effort went into that. But that's where we got the first look at the Slow with the what was it, mashup with is it David Bowie, isn't it? The first time we heard that. So yeah, a lot of treasures came out of that one.
Yeah, definitely. And I actually thought I'd already, so to speak, already had my moment with her, because last year, when she was doing all the tension kind of promotion, I ended up speaking to her on Capital FM radio, which was in October, I think.
What, you phoned in?
And I ended up being on the radio speaking to her. Well, they actually phoned me because they were like, "Who wants to play this game with Kylie?" And I'd actually just had a major operation, and I was laid up at home listening to all these promo things going on. They were like, "Oh, who wants to play this game with Kylie?" And I texted by WhatsApp. And literally my phone rang straight away, and I was like, oh my God. They ended up putting me through to her in the studio, and I played this sort of like live camera action thing with her, which was really good. I don't know whether you've seen it.
No, what was that one?
It was around at the time.
I watch all of it, and I can't remember. It might come to me. What was the game? What did you have to do?
So basically, she had to tell a series of stories, and I had to figure out which one was the truth.
Oh, lies, camera
and two
action.
of them were lies.
I got it.
Yeah, lies, camera action. Yeah. And I got it wrong. But what was funny about it was she actually loved the fact that I got it wrong. Which
because
kind
she
of
tricked
made
you.
up for it in a way, because she was so happy. Yeah, she tricked me, and she said it was to do with her all of her, acting performances over the years. She was able to trick me, so it was really funny. I'll send you a link to the YouTube video.
I'd love
it ended up being on YouTube at the end. So that was great for me, because I could see her reaction, whereas obviously at the time it was just on the phone. That
that's
really good.
Wonderful. Wow, you are. She is really connecting with the fans at the moment, isn't she? And it's, and you've been blessed, 2 huge events. It's been lovely talking to you, Claire. I love finding a fan who's been around for as long as I have, and I particularly like finding a fan who's spent a lifetime indoctrinating their children into the Minogue world. Because I know how it is. With me, one, I got on board, the other one absolutely the opposite way. I must have gone too hard too soon. She's out. She doesn't want to know.
Oh.
But I did find one Kylie song secretly in her
now.
playlist, so that's a bit of a win.
That's brilliant. I think there are some there are younger fans, like early 20s.
Oh, yeah.
I've met a couple of them. I met a lovely girl called Amber, who's from London. She's only like early 20s, and she's a big fan. And actually, she had got an Impossible Princess top on. So it's lovely to see things like that, because it's not just the newer music. They're kind of going through the back catalogue.
Claire, can you please thank Leo so much for talking to me? And it's been a pleasure talking to you too. You're obviously raising a great young man there. He speaks so beautifully, doesn't he? So well done on that too, to you and your husband. And here's to Kylie.
Thank you.
Here's to Kylie. More eras to come.
100%. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Well, how's this for a headline? Beyonce's London concert fails to sell out as empty seats are visible despite cut-price tickets. I've heard catchier headlines, but you get the point. Beyonce? Really? In London? Not selling out her opening show or her second night show? Well, luckily I'm joined by Jordan, who's just come back from night number 2. G'day, Jordan.
Hello.
And you're saying it was spectacular.
Amazing. I mean, I'm not being biased either. I must admit,
but you are part of the Beehive.
I am.
So you are biased.
Well,
it's okay. I know you've not been in the fortress of pop culture before, Jordan, but let me just give you a bit of a rundown. It's okay to be biased here. It's okay to say, I love Beyonce no matter what. Whatever it is, it's absolutely okay. It's not a criticism here.
I must admit I am biased, but even to the point where, like, I know mistakes happen, but even on the first night, mistakes were made. The robots, that she has robots on stage, by the way, the robots weren't turned on, and I mean, I just see it as, it's something that happens. People make mistakes, but I also see it as come on, B, come on, B. It's a robot that has to be switched on.
Somebody didn't plug it in, obviously.
Exactly, yeah.
But in all seriousness, that's live theatre and live shows.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. It's nothing wrong with things going wrong. I remember when Kylie Minogue was on the Fever Tour, and there's this enormous dress. She's up high, and the dress flows from her all the way down. And one night it just fell off, or didn't rise, or something. It wasn't there, so she was just sort of standing there exposed. It's not a criticism. That's proof that this is a live experience. But Jordan, I really want to get to the point here. So the headlines are saying that Beyonce's in all kinds of trouble all over the world, and London, one of her biggest territories, not selling out her opening night and even her second night, they're saying. But I am reading the comments, and anyone who was there is calling foul of that headline.
Yeah, massively. I feel like at this point people want her to fail. I feel like people are almost kind of jealous or not happy that she's still being as successful as she is at her age. I mean, she's getting on now, as people would say. And
what is she? She's only 43 or something, isn't she?
Yes, yeah.
Is that getting on? How old are you, Jordan?
I'm 24.
Yeah, I was about to say that could. I know you don't agree with the criticism. That was your point, but I heard in the way you delivered that 43. Yeah, I can understand why some people. No, 43 is not getting on. All right, Jordan, trust me. When you get
she's
you'll
just
know what I
another
mean.
level. I mean, I don't understand how people can give the like the effort and the energy to the negativity. I mean, I was there on night one, I was there tonight, and both nights I couldn't see one seat that was empty. I mean, she has the wristbands that light up. Every single wristband was lit up. You know, I don't get it. I don't get why people kind of want her to
But
fail.
Jordan, so you're our eyes and our ears. You're looking around this arena. Which arena are we talking about, by the way? It's not the O2, is it?
Yeah, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Okay. So when you're there in the arena and you're looking around, you're honestly telling me you couldn't see empty seats?
I could not see one empty seat. The only empty seats that I could see were before the show, before she even was close to coming on. And obviously that's because people are like just getting there. Genuinely, like, I don't even know how to express it, that there was not one empty seat. I could not explain it as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, no, and you were there, so we have to rely on you. You're looking around. We all know what a full arena looks like. And by the way, I think we need to define this a little bit, because some people will say, I saw one chair with not a bottom in it. Well, that doesn't mean it didn't sell out.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
All the headlines are suggesting that, A, contrary to what you just told us, there are visible empty seats, but B, that they've moved people around to disguise the empty seats as well. And C, final point, that the tickets were lowered massively at the last minute, down to around, I think I read something like £66. How much did you pay for your ticket?
For both, or just for the one tonight?
Oh, okay. Different seats, different prices. Well, give us both.
So for the first night, I was close to £900.
Hang on. No, you can't just drop that on me. £900? Ladies and gentlemen, in Australia, I think that's probably around $1,500. That's crazy. But you must have got a good seat though, Jordan. Is that right?
Yeah, amazing. Right at the front, there was the VIP package.
Okay. All right. Okay. Forgiven. That's a lot of money for a young man. And for the second night?
Second night was, as you did say, cheaper, because there was some room in the pits at the front. That could either be down to people who couldn't make it, people who had resold the tickets.
How much did you pick it up for?
I got that one for $330.
Wow. Okay. So it's still a fairly hefty price.
Yeah.
But a good seat still, nonetheless.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and good on you. You know, that's what we do for our stars. What is it though, Jordan? Because something changed for Beyonce. She was untouchable. She was the queen bee, and it didn't matter if you were
in the Beehive or not, you had to respect the artist, you had to respect what she'd accomplished. She was it. She's at the peak, possibly even eclipsing Taylor Swift. But in the past 12, 18 months, there's a pylon. Can you explain why that pylon seems to be happening?
Do you mean in terms of like why people are giving us such negativity in the
Yeah,
past
just
12 months?
generally, like her and Katy Perry are
Yeah.
both, well, quite frankly, let's not sugarcoat it. They're becoming laughing stocks. And I'm curious to know, with Beyonce specifically, why you, as a super fan,
hmm
believe that to be the case. What changed?
Um, I feel like Beyonce now is doing a lot of things that people don't understand, and automatically in the human mind, which I completely get, if you don't understand something, you just pass it off. You just say like, no, I don't want to know.
Are you talking
Um,
about her foray into country music?
the country music thing, even down to she gets so in depth with America and how things aren't all as amazing as they seem, and they haven't always been easy. Being, she's a black woman, um, and I feel like a lot of people kind of they just pass it off and brush it off, and they don't want to know because they don't know. They don't have the information.
She did support Kamala Harris, and
Yeah.
that appears to me, from my little bit of research, one of the turning points for her. Should someone like Beyonce get political, Jordan? In your opinion, as a fan, do you mind that she gets out there and puts her political views out there above and beyond her entertainment?
I think I think that given the power that she has and the reach and the fan base, I feel like it's a very, very sensible thing to bring light to the problems and the things that are gonna go wrong or could go wrong. And now I feel like it's down to people whether they go ahead with that. I think a lot
Mm.
of people, give the excuse of, oh, well, you follow Beyonce, so now you're following the beliefs that she has. But that's down to every individual person. They
It's a
have to kind of.
fascinating topic. Should celebrities get involved in politics is a really, and certainly Beyonce's not the only. It goes
I
back
agree.
to the dawn of Frank Sinatra, even
Yeah.
before him. It goes right back. What about this idea that she's kept mum? She hasn't said a word about Diddy. She's all for women's rights, as you say. She's a very strong advocate. I think I'm going to use your words. She sheds light on issues that are important to society. Yet when you've got a man accused of what Diddy's accused of over multiple decades, and she's obviously friends with Diddy, her husband has produced and collaborated with Diddy, she doesn't say a word, not a single word. How do you feel about that?
I feel like that's typical Beyonce. She does everything, kind of everything with importance, and things that should be kept private or don't really need attention. I feel like she keeps back and she keeps reserved. She stays classy, and until she really, really believes that it's important, she won't speak about it. I do feel like a lot of the situation with Diddy, there's been a lot of mix-ups. Now, I don't know if she's involved or she has been involved, or I'd like to think she hasn't been. But again, she stays quiet. She stays reserved and classy. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. And it's really hard for a fan, I would imagine, because I'm sure there are people in the Beehive that want her to condemn the accusations and, well, to condemn the behaviour of Diddy, because certainly it may or may not prove to be criminal at this stage. But the behaviour is abhorrent. There's no question about that. Even his defence team, that's the strategy they're using, that his behaviour might be appalling, but it doesn't meet the threshold of criminality. What about this idea that she's culturally appropriated country music? Was that a cynical attempt to get another Grammy? Did she buy the Grammy? You must have heard all these rumours, Jordan, and criticisms.
Yes, I feel like a lot of people have this idea that Jay-Z bought the album of the year win.
What do you
I,
think?
I don't feel like that's the case. I really don't feel like that's the case. I genuinely feel like she deserves it. Um, and there's many people who are in the country, genre who have congratulated her, who are happy for her, um, and who are also like on the same level as her. You know, they're happy, they're congratulating, and they love to see it. They love to see Beyonce giving light to, you know, she's bringing things up that wouldn't have possibly been brought up.
When the criticism of Cowboy Carter was leveled at her, she did a really good job of explaining, well, hang on a second, country music does have black African American roots as well. So I thought she did a great job on contextualizing that criticism of herself.
I agree with that. Yeah. You've got Tina Turner, who's been in country. You've got Tracy Chapman, Lionel Richie. You name it, Ray Charles. There's multiple people who are black and in the country genre, and who have been in the country genre.
Yeah.
Um, it's nothing new. I mean, I feel like a lot of country predominantly started with the black community. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that that's the case. That's my opinion. I feel
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
lot of country came um, from black artists.
Well, I mean, it sparked a great conversation, I think, and I do think it shed light, again, using your words, on something that certainly I didn't know, that it traces right back in the black community, country music. I've got to ask you about this, Jordan, as someone in the Beehive, because I'm dying to know what you think of this. Silly as it may seem on the surface, there's a theory that Beyonce and Jay-Z kidnapped Sia, the singer Sia. She's Australian, by the way, same as me, and basically tied her to a writing boot camp. And this is my favorite part. There was this, I believe it's proven to be false since, but apparently Sia tweeted, "Baby, everything your own nice cat eats. Kangaroo is dead. Nowhere and purple penguins every day, my egg." Now, obviously, that makes absolutely no sense, but if you take the first letter of each one of those words, it spells out. So it is laughable. Beyonce kidnapped me. Have you heard these rumors about Beyonce kidnapping other singers so that she can have their songs?
To be really fair with you, that is one of the newest things that I've learned today. I did not know that.
Is that right? There's a few. It's not just Sia. There's another singer that doesn't come to mind, but she's been like, my daughter is on TikTok and reads me things and said, "Oh," and she believed it. I've spoken on this podcast before that it was shocking to me that my daughter believed something so ridiculous. It was another singer around the time that Cowboy Carter was released, I think, went mysteriously silent, and everyone was saying Beyonce had kidnapped her so that she wouldn't eclipse the release of her album. So that's what I mean by pylon. It just seems like Beyonce could do no wrong for the longest time, and now things like this are coming up. And I mean, would you agree, at least, Jordan, that she and Jay-Z, they're a powerful couple in music?
Oh, of course. I mean, I'll give you this. If they wanted to do something like that, they probably could. Now, whether I
Ooh.
believe that they did or not, I don't believe that they did, and I don't believe that they ever would. But I feel like they're that powerful that it is possible. I mean, that's a lot of things come from power. And again, it's just down to whether people believe that she did it or not whether she's capable of it, but whether they believe she actually did it.
Wow. So even you, as a super fan, believe she's connected enough, because there are huge celebrities, right? Huge celebrities, but not all of them are what we would perceive to be connected. But it does seem, in the case of Jay-Z and Beyonce, that they are, in inverted commas, connected, like power players. They're not just entertainers. It seems like they're movers and shakers in the background. And with that comes great responsibility and, yeah, accusations, as we're hearing.
They are a very, very, very powerful couple. And again, like I don't believe that they would ever do something like that, and I don't believe that they would. I just believe that with the reach, with the people that they know, with um, it's contacts. If they want something done, they can get it done whenever they want.
Some people are saying that the tour that you have just arrived home from, and thank you for making the time to talk to us, is a recycle in at least in part, of the Renaissance tour. Did you see any of that? Does it feel like a rehash?
Not really. I mean, there was a few songs.
But above and beyond the songs, what I read, and I'm not saying it's accurate, is that some of the staging appeared recycled, not just the track list. Of course, big artists are always going to repeat their biggest songs, but did you see any of the staging being rehashed from previous tour?
The stage itself, no. The props. So she does have she has robots which
Right.
are like a picture frame, and there's one behind her and one in front of her, and they like move with her. Um, that is from Renaissance, but that is part of the song that she sang. So that
Oh, I
has to
see.
kind of be there as part of the song.
Got it.
Apart from
So-
that, no.
Jordan, I haven't given you the chance, and I'm going to give it to you now. What makes you remain a Beyonce fan, or what made you fall in love with her, and why do you stay as loyal as you do?
To me, it's the dedication that she has. She does everything. She directs everything. She has her own businesses and her own, videographers. She's got her own brands that take part. She works tirelessly, and I don't know her personally, but I know for a fact that she is a perfectionist, and I can tell a perfectionist from a mile away. And I just love how passionate she is, and you can just see the passion. The passion just shines.
Final question, Jordan. The Cowboy Carter tour, should people go and see it? Especially those who've never seen Beyonce live before. Would they be in for a treat?
100%. It's a no-brainer, and again, I did say I'm not being biased, but I am, and I'm being biased from truth and from honesty. The show it's a feel-good place. Everybody just wants to dance. I mean, I was there on my own. I didn't go with anybody. I was there on night one on my own. I travelled for 4 hours to London, and I was there tonight on my own, and I was like possessed. I was a different person because she brings that out of me. If you want to dance, if you want to sing, you want to feel free, and you just want to just have a good time and let yourself go, then go for it.
Oh, Jordan, you've inspired me to go and see her. I've got to say, if an artist can help you lose all your inhibitions, even just for a moment, that's a very healthy thing. And it sounds to me like you're a wonderful person yourself, Jordan, who's aspiring to be your best self, as they say. And thank you very much for being on the show.
Yep. Amazing. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Good morning, Nicholas. How are you?
Hello. Good evening. It's 9:30 p.m. here.
Past your bedtime, Nicholas.
A bit interrupted by a conversation. Is it morning where you are? I suppose it is, yeah.
Yeah. It's only 6:30 here. And Nicholas, I've got a confession to make.
Tell me.
I don't know why you're on the show.
You invited me.
Somebody told me, I haven't read them myself, but somebody said that you've been having a go at me online. Is that true?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, well, can you tell me? Funny thing is, I haven't read, and I don't even really know what the flavour is. Oh, except for maybe something about my pronunciation of words.
Yes. I'm a bit perplexed because I'm ESL. Well, actually, more like EFL because English is a fourth language that I learned. But I spotted you pronouncing equal, and I've never heard this, and I had to double check a few times, and I can't see any accepted pronunciation of that word as you say it.
And that outraged you?
I mean, I'm just very perplexed, not enraged. I'm not gonna, lose sleep over that.
But what perplexes you about that? I mean, you've just told me that you teach ESL, so you language as a second language, essentially.
Mm.
I would have thought that you, above anyone else, would be extremely tolerant of mispronunciations.
Not from natives, no.
And what is a native?
Someone whose first language is, in this case, English.
Okay, well, I'm a native in that case. All right. Well, so tell me how to pronounce it. Let me get it right. I've been going. I'll put it in a sentence. Kylie is equally matched to Madonna. What about that? Was that wrong or right? You tell me. You're the teacher.
The pronunciation or the statement?
The pronunciation.
Equally, yeah, that's a correct one.
Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, how was I saying it before?
Equally.
Equally. Was that how I was saying it?
Or equal. It was something to that effect. I mean,
was it?
It was
did you
a
hear?
few months ago. So.
Did you hear me say it once, or have you heard me say it repeatedly?
A couple of times, to the point where I thought it could not just be a coincidence.
Okay. All right. So, folks, I'm taking something from this. Equally. You're right. It does come out of my mouth like that, but it should be equally.
Yes.
You want to hear the qua.
Yes.
Does it do things to you when I do this, Nicholas? Qua.
Things it does to me. I mean,
qua. Okay. All right. And what else enrages you? I've heard that there's a range. There's basically a shopping list. Keep going. I've corrected that for you. Easy.
Okay, a shopping list. I mean, I think it ranges from a lot of things. I love that this is the first subject that you want to tackle.
Oh well, mate. No, you take me where you want to go. It's your podcast. I just genuinely, as I got into the studio, thought I scrolled back because I must admit, I talked to a lot of people, so I need to refresh quickly what people were going to come on the show about. And when I scrolled back in your chat, I fully put my hand up if I invited you on or someone invited you on. That's fine, but I couldn't see. There was nothing about Kylie. There was nothing about Madonna. I just saw a comment about that you have a range of interests. So I'm sitting in here open-minded. So you take this where you want to go.
Okay, because
but don't avoid the things that enrage you, because I want to try and modify my behavior so that a listener like you can enjoy the show even better than you already enjoy it.
The thing is, the word enrage is very strong. I mean, enrage means that I'm literally I want to throw my phone to the ground when I'm listening, which is not the case.
But you're a teacher, right? So you'd probably understand that there's inference and implication, right? So the producer who read your comments has told me that they believe you to be enraged. So you must accept that, Nicholas. You have to stand by the fact that you've made comments that have been perceived by someone as you being enraged, even if you weren't.
It all stemmed from, because I don't know who got in touch with me first, but it all stemmed from a post that someone put on the message board, for the Facebook page of Say Hey on Facebook.
Oh God. Sorry, Nicholas. So much of this is making sense to me now. Just for the record, I haven't been on Say Hey in more than probably 15 years, yet I hear that there is a crusade against this show. I've been reliably informed. I've been reliably informed by somebody in the past 4 weeks that they were kicked out of Say Hey because they posted one of the shows, which I did not ask them to, of course, because Say Hey, honestly, I wouldn't even know where to find it anymore. So anyway, this is all making sense now. So Nicholas, you saw something on Say Hey, and this has led to you making statements. Keep going.
So someone posted that was on Facebook, not on the message board, and someone posted. Maybe it was a link to your show or something about the show.
Okay.
And I did provide the context that I would take what you say with a pinch of salt, because in the past you've made quite strong claims or supported some very strong theories that I know were not grounded in facts, and also I'm just surprised you haven't got, sued over some stuff that you've said. And one of the things I mentioned was, I remember it was 2 years ago when Madonna had a bacterial infection, and I remember you posted an entire episode where you basically said that Madonna was committing insurance fraud by not being pretending to be ill in order to boost her ticket sales for her concert. And I thought that was so egregious and just, and you sort of backpedal. Well, you didn't backpedal because you sort of left it behind, didn't acknowledge it, and then you had a full coverage of the celebration tour and never made any statement clearing what you had said or trying to go back on that. And I
Mhm.
thought that was quite shitty, to be honest.
The episode about Madonna being ill, this is before the celebration tour started.
Mm.
Obviously, she had to delay the start of it. And we did have an episode where it was claimed that this could be a conspiracy, that she was worried about ticket sales, that she wanted to close off some of the shows that weren't selling well, and this was a good way of doing it, right? That was essentially the crux of the episode.
Mm.
Yeah. You found it egregious.
Yeah, it's quite a strong claim to make, especially, I
Did you
mean,
listen to the episode, Nicholas? Or did you just see the thumbnail?
no, I did listen to the entire episode.
Well, I'm just curious if you listened to the entire episode, and I know it was a long time ago now, but you'd be aware that I didn't make that statement.
See, but this is going to lead me to my overall point. That's not just about particular.
Well,
Is
no.
that
But let's make sure that we clear this up. If you listen to the entire episode,
I mean, it's 2 years ago. Like,
yes,
how am I going to remember down to granular level everything
I'm
you
not
said?
not asking for the granular. I can't remember granular either, but you'd be aware that I didn't make that comment.
The the difference is that you did not put any caveat, and when it was clear that that comment was just a stupid conspiracy theory and quite an insulting one, to be honest, because if you put yourself in Madonna's shoes for 2 seconds and you have people claiming that she pretended to have a serious bacterial infection to bump up the sales of her tickets, you never came back and made a statement about what was said, nor invited the person back. And this goes to the main
Well,
overarching
hold on.
point
You're
I'm
saying
trying
a
to
lot
make.
of
No, no,
things.
no, no. You hold on,
No,
because
no.
the thing. No,
I'm gonna.
no, no.
You've
Because
made
hold on.
statements that are incorrect. Let me just clarify two things, and I
Really?
promise you're
Have I
gonna. Yeah.
not? Did
Yes.
you did you go back and say that Madonna
You've made
was actually ill, and that what was in that podcast
Nicholas.
was something that
Nicholas.
you completely detached yourself from?
Nicholas, you're
Did you
going to
say
get a
that?
fair go. You're going to get a fair go, I promise. But it's got to be a conversation, all right?
Mm?
People listening will hopefully be hearing that you've had a fair run, but I'm not going to let you just fruit and run. Okay, there's two things you said there.
I
First of
can't
all,
finish points. You're the one interrupting me. Okay.
well, I'm going to interrupt you when you say wrong things. I did invite
Uh-huh.
the guest back, and two times now you still haven't acknowledged I did not make that claim. Would you at least acknowledge that?
I would have to go back and listen to the episode.
Well, it's a shame, mate. If you're listening to the show, there was a person who came on and he made that claim. Yeah, it was a wild conspiracy theory. I'd agree with you. But I didn't make that claim. This show is basically an open forum. And like you're here.
Okay. And that
And
leads me to the point that I'm trying to make, which you're not allowing me to make,
go ahead.
which
Go
is,
ahead.
okay, the real main issue I have with you and your show is that you invite people on it. You let them speak, which is absolutely lovely. So you provide a platform for a lot of discourse without really fact checking anything. And in that sense, as a host of a show that is trying to open conversations, I do believe ethically it is your job to always counteract certain claims that are made. That's basically a sort of journalistic integrity. You can't just put people on a platform and say, well, I didn't say that. No, but you give them a platform. It is your responsibility to make sure that if incorrect claims, which also, by the way, I think in that case and many other cases, could be ground for, suing people because that's defamatory. it is your responsibility, in my opinion, to come back with a statement. And this is basically what happens on absolutely every show that you might watch. When if someone comes and has an entire hour to themselves where they can say Madonna is faking her illness to bump up her sales, or something like not so recently, but like, oh, US immigrants who come to the US smuggle drugs in the territory, when you were invited a Trump supporter and voter. In my opinion, it is your responsibility as a host to check those claims, make sure that you deliver factual information. The entire idea that you let people speak and then you just say, well, I didn't say those things, you still hold a certain responsibility towards your audience
Okay,
to
Nicholas,
to
Nicholas,
check those
I hope you
claims
feel like you've
and
got a few.
and
Am
then
I allowed
correct
to
them.
talk yet? Or I'm a bit paranoid now because you've got very strict and harsh, frankly, criteria about how a conversation can go. I'm suspecting that you are absolutely part of the cancel culture movement. Absolutely.
Okay, good.
So, am I going to get a chance to speak? Am I allowed under your criteria to talk now, or
Yeah. Go ahead.
are you sure? Have you got your egg timer ready to go? No
I'm
response,
listening.
Nicholas, at all. No response. Sounds about right. Okay, so I think you make a valid point. It's when somebody comes on the show and makes outrageous claims. Well, the mechanism on this particular show to remedy those is other people are allowed to come on, like yourself, Nicholas, to put the counter argument forward. That is absolutely not my job because I believe very much in freedom of speech. And agreed, there is a limit to freedom of speech. If it crosses a line into the world of criminal or defamatory, no good. Totally agree with you on that. Okay. But when that guy came on and he wanted to express his disappointment, it was a general conversation about his disappointment in Madonna at that point in time. He was invited back on the show, despite your, by the way, not fact-checked claim that I didn't invite him back on the show. And yeah, you did say that, Nicholas, so don't deny it.
Mhm.
I did invite him back on the show. He declined to come back on the show. He
Okay.
told me, by the way, in text that he was enjoying the celebration tour, despite his earlier concerns. So that's the mechanism that people can come on and present the counter argument. Nicholas, just to make it abundantly clear, are you telling me that there are some guests who I shouldn't allow on the show?
No, I'm not saying that. I do believe also in freedom of expression, but also at some point, some things that I said, which are factually incorrect, should be fact checked by you if the person does not wish to come back on the show. Um, for me, it's an ethical responsibility that you have.
But how the devil, be real with me, Nicholas, because it's easy for you to throw the big bomb over to me and say, you should have fact checked. How would one fact check what was going on in the mechanics of Madonna's mind when she was delaying the start of her tour? How the devil would you expect me to do it? Tell me.
Well, after the fact, after it was confirmed that,
It
she
was never
had been
confirmed.
ill.
It was never confirmed that she delayed the start of a tour, not to claim insurance. And maybe she did claim insurance. How do you know she didn't? I'm sure she did, in fact.
Okay, so do you have evidence for that?
Do you have evidence that she didn't? That's my point. Like,
Well,
if
I'm not that invested in that tour that I would check that information or have it at the, tip of my
But
fingers.
the irony here, Nicholas, is that you've come on and said, "Oh my God, someone said something totally incorrect on your show about Madonna claiming insurance for cancelled shows." You don't know if she didn't. The likelihood is she did. So he probably came on the show and made a factually correct remark that has enraged you. By the way, you might not feel enraged, but you're sounding very enraged.
How do you know I'm enraged?
There's a bit of a veneer of laughter there, but you're sounding rather enraged. Okay, but look, I take your point.
So it's we going on a process of intention, and basically, like, the way
I
you
love
feel
this.
about me is what I am. Okay, cool.
Well, that's the way I'm perceiving it. Yeah. So look, I've got equal there's one for you. And there's nothing we disagree on, really. If somebody comes on and makes a claim that veers into the criminal or the libel, I agree that should be either corrected or actually just cancelled out. Agreed.
So for instance, when you had the Trump supporter,
a Trump voter, okay, yeah,
and that person, I remember listening to that episode a couple of months ago, and that person, I think it was kind of like an exchange between him and someone who was against Trump.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Madam Roastbeef and Sean, potentially, maybe.
Mm-hmm. So what the Trump supporter claimed, and what backed up his vote, was that so he made the claim that migrants from South America were responsible for smuggling drugs in the US, and that's why he voted for Trump, because the whole campaign that he led was based on cracking down on immigration, which we are seeing unfolding now. Again, when you talk about Madonna and cancelling tours, like, it's fine. Like, it's not, in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that important.
You've just spent 10 minutes telling me why it's not fine. So don't start.
I said it was insulting to make that claim about, and that was just an example of the general point that I'm really trying to make a point.
Well, God, I hope you get there, Nicholas, because you're taking the long way.
I'm trying to get there, but if you keep talking, it's not going to happen.
Well, mate, you're on a podcast and you're with a host, and it's a conversation. And if somebody is taking the long route, it is my job to get them back on track. So get back on track. You're upset about.
I'm trying to get on track, but you keep interrupting, so that's why it's impossible.
Well, so please get back on track. I'm trying to follow.
Okay, so in the grand scheme of things, when you talk about trivial pop things like tours and music or whatever, it's not, it doesn't have extreme ramifications on people's lives. I think the problem is you seem to be very quickly out of your depth on a lot of subjects, or if you aren't, then you consciously make the decision to not correct certain things that I think are ethically and morally important for me to correct. So when that claim was made, it has been supported many times by police figures. And, the American police are not the wokest, progressive, social justice warriors that you can come across. It has been proven many times that the ones who are bringing drugs in the US are not immigrants who are, for most cases, fleeing very unstable political situations or just
Come on, mate.
extreme
Let's
poverty.
get to the point here,
So
because it's not.
the
I
thing
don't want
is,
to talk about Trump.
when that claim is made, there are implications. Which, for instance, that person voted for Trump. That was a reason why many people voted for him, based on anti-immigration laws. And now we're seeing the effects on a lot of people's lives. What's happening in America right now? There are riots against ICE members or ICE agents. So when you have people who come on the show and you don't question,
are you going to let me talk now?
No, I'm good. Are you going to let me finish? When you have those people on the show and you invite them, provide them a platform, and then you don't ask them, okay, where did you have those figures? Where did you have that information? Is that really something that you based your vote on? I think as a host, that's your moral duty, in my opinion.
Interestingly, that was a debate between two people. So your claim that I have a role to play there in fact checking along the way, that's a bit dubious, because it's two people.
No, in my opinion, that's very important.
I would like to offer you the opportunity to talk to that guy, who I believe to be Sean. Would you like to talk to Sean directly on this show about his claims of Trump?
how we're going to organize that anyway. Like one person in the US, one person in London, and one person in Australia.
I'm a very clever man. I can make it happen. Are you up for it, Nicholas? Would you talk to him directly if you're so enraged by his claims that I didn't correct?
Why do you keep using the word enraged? I don't
Nicholas, I
understand.
don't think you understand how you're perceived by people. You're sounding extremely enraged. You won't
By
let me
people, by
talk.
you.
Oh, so you are enraged. So I was correct. Where's my role in it? You said I'm increasingly out of depth with topics.
Yeah. I mean, for instance, when you're part of the people who use the word woke, and I don't think you really understand the meaning of that word, or
How would you define
you,
it?
so technically woke means someone who is aware of systemic issues related to discrimination about race or gender or sexual orientation, gender identity,
Someone who's enlightened, right?
and acknowledges those factor in society and tries to improve and make society more equal for everyone.
So, Nicholas, that's fine if your interpretation of the word woke is that. But like many words in the English language, the definition of woke has evolved for many of us into something
To
that
what?
is symbolic of people who have simplistic ideas of the wonderful world that we should live in at the expense of others. So people who want to cancel people's voices, for example, they would be woke. So, can I give you a preliminary verdict, Nicholas?
Mhm.
It sounds to me like you enjoy the conversations on the show where you agree, but conversations where you don't agree bother you, and that's really
No,
interesting to me because do you not have a curious enough mind to hear different perspectives? Do you not have a curious enough mind to at least hear the views of people that don't necessarily hold your worldview? Because so far you're coming across as somebody who just thinks every guest I've ever had that has a statement or a position that differs from yours, you think that I should have intervened and slapped them down like a bitch.
slap them down like a bitch. You use such strong language for everything. Enrage, slap them down like a bitch. That's I
Again,
think that's
Nicholas,
the that's
your lack of personal insight is astounding because
what?
the listeners can make up their own mind. You come
Okay.
across as extremely enraged. But
I come
let's go
across
back.
as extremely
Don't avoid the
enraged.
question, though. The question was, do you
Mm-hmm.
have a curious enough mind to sit and listen to the views of those that differ from yours?
100%. The problem is if the views, quote unquote views that are presented are not grounded in any reality, then we can't really have a conversation.
Sometimes amateurs know best, and a lack of professionalism is all you'll hear on the Time to Talk show. Join Tim and his panel of guests as they wade their way through a range of news, music, and pop culture treats. Time to Talk, the show hosted by amateurs for unprofessional listeners.
Why do you listen to the show?
Well, I haven't listened to. I've gone through phases.
Okay.
So if you want to have my listening pattern, I think everything that's like pop related, fine, I can listen to it. I haven't listened to the show in a long time because I was on a media blackout regarding Kylie's Tension tour. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to, because I went this week and I didn't want to have any influence whatsoever. And a lot of the episodes that were there, which by the way, this is how, like, what I was supposed to talk about today, but okay, fine. Um, so I didn't want to have any influence before going to the performance in London on Monday.
I'm just
So I haven't
curious though.
listened to it.
You come across the show, and clearly you've been enraged a number of times listening to it.
Enraged,
And would you say, are
enraged.
you generally always, when you listen to it, is there anything good about the show?
I think when you talk about like light-hearted pop culture, I'm completely fine with it.
Right. So when you agree with it.
No, sometimes I don't agree with it. I don't agree with your takes on a lot of music that you listen to, but I still
Uh-huh.
enjoy listening to it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you listen, Nicholas. I mean, I love having people on, and I'm taking things from this. You might think I haven't taken anything on board. I have. Fair enough. There's somebody out there listening to the show who thinks that when a guest comes on and makes statements that they believe to be defamatory, by the way, I would always do that. But in the case that you're referencing, which is the Madonna cancellation of the tour, or the delay to the start of Celebration, I don't think he strayed into defamatory or libelous territory at all, which is why.
Again, I would have to listen to the episode back because it was published 2 years ago, and we can go into the details again.
Isn't it a fantastic thing that Nicholas can be sitting there enraged, listening to it for however many episodes, and then be able to come on the show and tell me about it? Isn't that a good thing? That you've had your opportunity to have your say? I think that's great.
I'm not enraged, though. I don't know where you get that info from.
All right. Take out the word enraged. Is it a great thing that you've been able to come on and get this off your chest?
Sort of, yeah, because, I think you are not addressing my main point. You're trying to sort of deflect a little bit. But that's fine.
Maybe I just need some time to absorb it, Maybe I've been hit over the back of the head with a frying pan, Nicholas, and I need to have some time to digest what you've said.
You have such a violent vision of me. It's incredible.
Well, I certainly wouldn't want to meet you in a dark back alley.
Okay.
Because I think you're the type who'd be smiling, but that'd be part of the trap.
That, again, it's...
What are you doing live?
Where do you get that from? Is that how you interact with people? You have a preconceived notion of them, and then you go on wild claims about them. That's just wild.
Again, Nicholas, not preconceived. I've had a conversation with you, so that's a very woke thing for you to say.
How long have we talked?
You don't think, so again, this is very symptomatic of what I think you are, actually, Nicholas. You think that because we've only spoken for 30 minutes at this stage,
what do you think I am?
I have no right to have formed any opinion about you, which, by the way, is part of the human species. It's how we survive. We all make judgments. Judgment is not a bad thing. You have opinions about me, Nicholas.
Mm-hmm.
That's your right to have them. I haven't said you shouldn't have an opinion about me. You've only spoken to me directly for 30 minutes yourself. You've got very strong opinions about me.
No, let me... I wouldn't... First of all, I listen to a lot of you because, there's hours and hours and hours of you talking.
Nicholas, there's a comment that I'm just looking at here. You've described me as emotionally immature.
How long ago was that?
I have no idea, mate. Am I emotionally immature?
You know what that is? I am, again, another thing that I'm not enraged by, but very perplexed, is your absolute hatred for Meghan Markle's.
I don't hate Meghan Markle.
You don't? You talk about her all the time.
Yeah, we talk about her a lot, but hate's a strong word. Absolutely not.
So what do you feel toward Meghan Markle?
I think Meghan Markle is somebody who's more obsessed about how she's perceived than actually just being the person that she truly is. I think that I would quite like her because she's a very harsh lady. I think she's a very judgmental lady. And if she could just be herself, I'd like her all the better. But the fact that she tries to wrap it with a veneer of, I'm very sweet, I'm very kooky, I'm very funny, I'm very helpful, I have a lot of friends, but I don't really care about power or fame or celebrity. That's how I feel about Meghan. But hatred, no. Let's go back to this emotionally immature question, or statement that you've made. Tell me about that.
Again, when was that statement and what was it about?
Okay. Well, I can't give you the context, Nicholas. You've made the statement. You can't stand by it. What do you do in life, Nicholas?
I'm a fitness instructor and content creator.
A content creator? Really? What do you make content about?
I'm an adult content creator.
Really? Are you on OnlyFans?
Yes, among other platforms.
Okay. Do you make a good living out of that?
It's a nice extra.
Okay, so it's not enough to live on. I've always wanted to ask that. Some OnlyFans that get in the news, they go, I'm making $100,000 a month and all that sort of stuff. That's not your experience?
That's a very small minority of content creators. It's just like regular content. You have people who make millions and others who, just get a little extra money from it.
So how often do you post to those platforms?
Once a week on
Okay.
OnlyFans, and I'm on Just for Fans, which is another one, which allows more kinky content.
Right.
And that one I post twice a week.
And how full on is your content?
Depends on what you think is full on. I would say for most people it is quite full on.
Okay. Well, tell us. This is uncensored show. What do you do on your platforms? People might want to come and watch you, Nicholas.
Okay. Well, OnlyFans is sorry, it's been a long day, so my voice is a bit not there. On OnlyFans, I do explicit content, a bit of solo, but that's not really. I feel a bit awkward by myself in front of the camera, so I invite other gentlemen to partake in activities with me.
Oh, come on. Don't be coy. You're on OnlyFans. What do you do with other gentlemen? Full on sex?
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. And uncensored, unfiltered, which I'm imagining. I actually haven't been on OnlyFans before.
I mean, it's behind a paywall, so you have to prove that you're 18 to watch the content.
Okay. And I'm curious, like when you say it's basically pocket money is sort of what you're describing it. I mean, how much would you make in a month from OnlyFans or from all the platforms combined?
Do you work for HMRC?
Well, so that's your equivalent of a tax office, I'm assuming. But surely you can't avoid tax because that's all there's a paper trail.
You have to declare it.
Yeah. So how much in a typical month?
It can vary. I don't like discussing money issues really.
Okay, but it's not enough for you not to work.
I could live off of it, but when you live in London, you need to get all the money you can because everything is expensive. So I would have to be very careful with my spending. I could live off of my content.
So you said you're a fitness trainer and you make adult content, but you also said you're an ESL teacher. Is that still happening or is that in the past?
No, I didn't say that.
You didn't say you're an ESL teacher?
I am ESL. So
yourself.
Second language.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know multiple languages.
Correct.
Well, it sounds like you're living your best life.
A busy life for sure.
How long have you been doing the adult stuff for?
Going on 2.5 years.
Okay. And is it one of those things that you sometimes think to yourself, if I could dedicate more time to this, it would be more successful? Or is it about as successful as it's going to get for you?
I think it could go bigger. The whole thing is I don't want to make that my only form of income anyway, or I don't want that to be my life. Because that's something that you sort of age out of at some point. And also it's quite a lonely life, when you meet a lot of people that you shoot with, but it's still, a lot of time spent in front of a computer editing. For me, it's too lonely. I like my fitness thing because it allows me to meet all sorts of people from all walks of lives, and just like the variety of people that meet throughout the day is just it's quite astounding.
You're not in a relationship then at the moment?
No.
If you were in a relationship, is this something you could do you think?
Yes, because I would like to be with someone who would accept that. I wouldn't ask anyone else to change a job or to move to a different place just for me. That's something that is rewarding emotionally and financially for me. So that's not something I want to give up on for someone else.
Is it an odd experience to have yourself in pornographic situations on a computer screen and you're editing? Like, how do you make those choices about where to edit, where to slice, where to zoom, where to delete?
Everyone's got a different relationship with it. Since I come from the fitness industry, I kind of have to embrace the fact that I'm not going to be happy with the way I look like 360, because that's when you see all angles of you. But everyone's got their own style of editing, everyone's got their own style of filming. Um, so I kind of have my formula that works for me.
It'd be easy to assume that you aren't a self-conscious person, but most people do have something they're self-conscious about. Is there anything about yourself that you are self-conscious about?
Of so many, but it's again, my work on myself is to push that aside and again think, I'm grateful that I'm able to do what I do, that my body works.
What are you self-conscious about though?
What do you want to know? Are you my psychiatrist now?
You don't want to share that? All right, well, let's flip it around. What's the part of your body that you are most proud of, or what part of your performance in these videos are you most proud of?
Part of perform. I'm very pleased with my understanding of angles and light. My editing skills, I think, are great. I sort of, because most of us, we don't have the leverage to have a camera operator and a lights department. It's everything is homemade. So there are some videos that I managed to shoot in 45 minutes, edited down to 25, and I think this angle, this light makes everyone look great. You see what you need to see. The editing is very on point. Everything is snappy. It's not boring. It's dynamic. That's what I like about my
Okay,
videos.
so a lot of thoughtfulness. And how many followers do you have collectively?
Um, on my content platforms or on my Twitter?
Collectively.
About 100,000.
Wow, you're doing a good job there. Doing a good job. That's big for 2.5 years only. It's sort of early days.
And we try.
Amazing, Nicholas. Well, look, thank you for letting me get to know you a little bit. It's always good to know the background and the context of somebody who's so enraged by the content that you produce. It's a wonderful thing. And funnily enough, Nicholas, I think I'm starting to enjoy you a little bit more now.
Oh,
Yeah.
when I'm not enraged.
No, I find that there was a generosity of spirit with you sharing a little bit about who you are and what you do. I think that was very generous of you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Which,
So,
by the way, one of the reasons why I came today was to talk about the Tension Tour, but we didn't mention that at all.
what did you think of the Tension Tour?
I think it was brilliant. I think it was the best.
Well, that's a good summary. Nicholas, I've enjoyed talking to you. Do you feel like you got a fair shot?
Not really, but I think I think I got the best shot that I could get with you.
Yeah. Well, I definitely tried my best. Are you going to keep listening, or is that it now? Unsubscribing?
I might listen back because again, I was on a media blackout to not have anything Kylie sort of cloud my personal opinion of the tour. I would say depends on the episodes. I know that all the political stuff I'm probably gonna steer clear from because it's probably going to be amateur hour, which you sort of I know that's your brand. I think politics should not be amateur hour. I think it should be backed up with more rigorous attitudes and claims. I guess that's just me. Anything
Bit
pop
elitist,
culture,
Nicholson.
like I don't mind.
I said it's a bit elitist of you, really, because nearly everyone who votes doesn't have a deep understanding of politics, yet they're the most important person in an election or in democracy, the voter. So the fact that you're suggesting that people shouldn't come on unless they're informed, well, you're really missing the pulse of a community that way, aren't you?
And I think when you're platforming people, you have to make sure that you get people who come from a place of really understanding what they're talking about.
How can people find you if they want to look you up? Because there's probably plenty of people who listen and are curious now.
So my stage name, if that's what you're referring to,
Sure.
is Angel, like an angel, and Diaz, like Cameron Diaz.
Angel Diaz.
Yes, so I'm at Angel Diaz XXL. I'll let you imagine what it's about. On Twitter, just for fans, only fans. And I have my personal Instagram. I don't really want people to find me there.
That's all right.
So yeah.
No, if people want to look you up, they can, and I'm sure many, many people will, because many people, as I say in one of the promos for this show, a lot of people listen to this show simply to be enraged. So there's lots of people in the Nicholas camp I know are listening and going, good, give it to him, Nicholas, give it to him hard. And
Enraged. You have such an interesting relationship with that word.
Well, listen back. I'm curious for you to listen back, and you can decide if, how you come across, because you come across as quite rabid about a number of issues.
Rabid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rabid,
The
enraged.
semantic field. Yeah, I'll probably use the word passionate or strongly convinced about the point that I make. But enraged, I'm gonna go to sleep in 30 minutes, and like I'm sure that's not gonna be a problem.
Well, even angry people sleep, Nicholas.
But do enraged people sleep? That's the question.
Nicholas, you've had your say and you've said it well, and I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.